I don't know my chores for the day this morning.
I know you did all your chores. You did a good job. Hey, welcome. Good evening. It is 5:55 p.m. Hey, this is better than that other day I did that 7:15 nonsense, right? Give you some credit. It's okay. Sorry, I got to adjust things once I'm on camera. Yes, my sewing machine is still there because I haven't finished my project, which I guess is okay since the stay-at-home order was extended, so I have more time to work on some masks. Yeah. Um, okay, so it's Friday. I am waiting for responses from AP on the Banneker prompt. So I can't wait to see what your videos are. Make sure you post it on the correct video. We have 2 flip grids. One was the first one I used, and then I've created a new one through Canvas to make it a little bit easier. So make sure you follow that link I gave you and access it through Canvas directly. It will show up in the assignment where you upload it. Same thing for my 10th graders for yours about argument that you need to have done by the end of this week, because next week we go into argument. Speaking of next week is, I guess, officially week 1. It's one of those weird things because for 10th grade, I've been having you guys just really make up work and do the district supplemental stuff, which is fine. AP, I've continued with work because we have an exam on May 20th. And if I were to wait until May 4th to give you any resources or help or assignments or feedback, that's pushing right up to when AP testing starts because we're one of the last exams. And so to me, waiting till May 4th was unethical for me to wait that long. So I have been giving you guys work and unlocking assessments and sending you to the AP tutorials on YouTube. And really this next week is probably going to be getting close to some of our last stuff, dealing with test prep things. Mr. Weeks and I are working on another unit for after the exam because one, this is still an English credit for high school and there's some skills you still need to practice. 2, we want to make it fun and interesting and just help you become more enlightened. And 3, we were off for 5 weeks. Most of you lost 5 weeks of instruction. And those of you that were doing the stuff I asked you to do, that wasn't actual real, class. So it was more of just practicing and keeping your skills up, honestly. Were there probably a few things you learned? Sure, it depends how much effort you put into it, but it was a little bit different. And so that's where we're heading. You should have received an email from Mrs. Ketover about attendance for the rest of the school year and how that functions. Don't even come over here right now when I'm talking and you're eating dinner. Yeah, I have to parent at the same time, so get used to that. So anyway, you should have received that letter. We're still waiting to hear more from the district regarding how grading is going to work specifically. We know that there's going to be an incomplete grade that comes into play at some point. We just don't know what scenarios will fit with that incomplete. Other districts are doing different things, so there's a lot of ideas floating around out there. Like I know Issaquah School District has it where whatever grade you had when we shut down is the grade you will receive as long as you complete all your work between here and the end of the school year. If you don't engage in that, then you get an incomplete, which means you then have to go do it later eventually. And then the other part of that is your grade can improve because you're engaged in that work between now and the end of the year, and that there's no way your grade can go down. So that's how Issaquah is dealing with it, and they're a nearby school district that I know about. So I'm waiting for Kent to decide how they're going to deal with incompletes. We know that no one will get an F on their transcript, so that one's pretty easy to deal with, understanding incompletes for that. But what happens with the rest of the grades is still up in the air. I'm keeping track of you guys doing things or not. I'm going to continue to do that so that once I hear about what are the frameworks I have for grading for Kent School District, I can apply those to what you have or have not done as of May 4th. So thank you to those who've been doing things, making things up as we go along, keeping up with your work, trying to turn things around. I appreciate you. You're making my life a whole lot easier. Late work is a big headache for teachers. It gets us out of sequence and makes things a lot more difficult. It's a lot easier if we can be in one mindset and move from one thing to the next. And I know that sometimes some kids need a little bit extra time, and that's something we work with, but it's when it's stuff that's, from a month or two ago, it gets to be really convoluted. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll be sending out an email with a link to next week's assignment in Canvas, but you can always check Canvas and see what's there. 10th graders, you have a new section for argument, and it has labels actually for each week. You guys next week will be either looking at a PowerPoint about argument and reviewing those terms and practicing applying those terms and noticing them in what you listen to or read. And you'll turn in that assignment in Canvas. I also have a video accompanying that where I actually do a lecture that I've recorded using that PowerPoint and giving you just a little bit more information and guidance. So there are a couple ways you can complete that work. You either need the PowerPoint and the assignment in Word that I've created for you, or you need to also open up my video to help guide you. So that's for 10th grade. AP next week, you had the Banneker prompt to read this week and post a video response just of your thoughts on it. And we gave you 2 questions to answer in Flipgrid. So hopefully you do that by Sunday, because Monday morning I'm going to go look at the ones for first period before people join me for a Q&A and before I post your assignment for next week. Your assignment for next week is going to have to do with working with that prompt a little bit more. You're going to look at a student example and do a response to that and reply to each other. So we're going to kick it up a notch a little bit just for some more practice. And that's leading us toward our last week before our test. And so we'll start also building in some things to do with what should you do to prepare for the exam. That doesn't apply to everyone though. Not everyone's taking the exam. So that would be in addition to anything else that we're doing. And we might split it off and have 2 different assignments, one for those taking the exam and one for those not taking the exam. So just be aware of that. But this next week is going to be dealing with looking at a student example and possibly doing a little bit of work with that. Okay. So that's where we're going. Flipgrid, remember we're using it within Canvas. You can find the assignment there. You just go to the original assignment and you can see everybody else's videos. Sorry for any confusion on the first video. It was my first time using it and the trainer didn't tell me I could put it in Canvas, which is what I wanted anyway. So I was using it as a standalone and I had it set for me to preview the videos before they would show up. So some of you were concerned because you're like, I did the video, but it's not showing up. And that's because I had it set for me to have to approve it first before anyone else could see it. Because it was our first video and I was like, some kids might do something crazy. They've been stuck in isolation for a while. Who knows what they're going to do, those crazy kids. So all of you are fine with your content and how you filmed and all that stuff. So just, look forward to the next one. So the future ones should post automatically and then I can negotiate them there. If you're going to join me next week for Teams meetings, they're optional Q&A next week. Just really for you to come ask me questions about the assignments, about how to access things, that possibly I could share my screen and show how to access things if you don't understand that. I've been trying to record videos of that, so hopefully you've been watching those because I'll be really frustrated if someone comes in and is like, how do I do this? And it's like, I created a tutorial video that I sent you guys like a week or two ago about that. I might just say that and tell you to go watch that, because I'm not going to waste everyone else's time with showing something I've already done. But I look forward to seeing you. If you want to check in and say hello, if you want to ask me some questions that I may or may not be able to answer, I could always write them down and ask somebody else. There's always these questions that kids ask me that are beyond my pay grade, and I have to go to someone with a higher power and authority and ask them, and they don't always get back to me right away, or if at all. So I do my best. So that's almost it. I'm drinking my tea. My hair is still wet because I took a late shower today because I went on a run after work, and that was good. I needed that. I'm working on something very special for you guys for Monday for our version of Daily Cup of Tea. It won't be a live video. So I look forward to sharing that with all of you. So, 14,000 things to be happy about. Yesterday was great with that. Remember, it's like the clouds parted and the sun started shining on me. Something was going in my favor for some reason. Okay. There was a lot less stress today, but I still was working a lot. I had a meeting this morning on Teams. By the way, you should have received an email from me for all of those. If you accept that on that email, I have them scheduled from here to the end of the school year. And I'm sorry, some class periods got it a couple of times. It's because it's my first time using it. And every time I updated it, it'd be like, send an update out. And I'm like, sure, I fixed it. And then it sends you another email, I think. So I'm sorry if you got multiple emails from me about it. But if you go into that, when the email's open, the top right-hand corner, it's going to ask you to accept or decline. And you can accept like all instances, which just puts it on your calendar. That doesn't mean you have to be there. I mean, it would be nice for me to know if someone's planning on being there, but I know it's your guys' first time using it. Just accept it. It'll be in your Outlook calendar. So that way, if you go to your email and you're like, oh no, I have that meeting with Mrs. Thomas, I need to go to that. You just go to your email and there's a calendar in the bottom left-hand corner. That's your calendar. And you go to the date and you should see it in there if you accepted that invitation. And then you just double click on that appointment and it should have a link for you to join the meeting. Okay. So don't go to the Teams thing and just start a meeting. Okay. You need to join the one I sent you the invite to. And it's specifically for your class period at that correct time. Okay. Those are optional right now. Possibility that if we wanted to do a Socratic seminar of some type or discussion, that there might be a need to be there live, unless you're going to do some alternate thing. That's still up in the air. I'm still deciding. Okay. So the big technologies I'm using for class is going to continue the same way. Canvas, accessing that and posting your assignments on there. They shouldn't be emailed to me unless I've told you to email them to me. If I specifically said, please email this to me, it should be uploaded to Canvas. Flipgrid is within Canvas. Okay, it's an application I've embedded into the pages. So I will still call that submitting it to Canvas, but it's within the Flipgrid app in Canvas. It's embedded. So make sure you do that appropriately. If you have questions or concerns about that, let me know. The only other thing I'm using is Microsoft Teams, but I'm just using that for those virtual meetings. So it's just because it's one that I knew I could easily schedule on my Outlook calendar. And the group was already created. All the groups were already created by the district in Teams. So it's far easier than just sending everybody a Zoom meeting. Okay. But that's what we're doing. And make sure you check the schedule. For AP, I believe I sent a schedule out to you guys. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'll send it out with Monday's stuff anyway. But first period and second period on Monday, third and fourth period on Tuesday, fifth and sixth period on Thursday. And I know Ms. Kedover sent something out about that. And it's also been posted on social media about that schedule. So please don't plead ignorance. We're trying to reach you guys multiple ways, and let your friends know. All right, last thing is 14,000 things to be happy about. I still have my big grad school project to do, by the way, this weekend. Not looking forward to it. That's okay, I'll do it anyway. Here we go. Not gonna look. I'm gonna flip another couple pages because it told me to, right? Here we go. Like, no, I can't look. I cheated. See how I did that? That's how you mess with things. All right. The first meal you cook in your first apartment. Yeah, because there's a sense of pride. It's your place. It's your thing. You can do whatever you want. Well, within reason, within your budget, within your new, probably really horrible budget because you're on your own for the first time. I didn't move out till I got married. I lived at my parents' house until then. I was 22, almost 23. And I was just finishing up school. College, that is. So it took a while for me to finish up. I don't know what I was doing. Living life, experiencing life. So there's that. So I got to experience being married and living in my first place outside of my parents' house all together. Quite the learning curve. But I was pretty well prepared for it. So don't forget, Monday's a holiday. Hope you'll be here for our special video, and I will see you then. Have a great weekend.